Okay, so welcome back, everybody. I hope you enjoyed your coffee breaks and had a moment to absorb all of the wonderful emotional, intellectual, spiritual, and practical advice being shipped out so far today. Um, we can hear from the sound effects that you're present in the hall, so thanks for coming back. Now, it's my pleasure now to introduce Doug Bates. He's the founder of Intelligent People, and Intelligent People have been a sponsor of the JAM conference for many a year, since 2016, I believe. And Doug is here to talk to us about the important practical matter of how to write an outstanding resume as a product manager. So Doug, thanks so much for joining us, and we look forward to hearing from you. Now you're muted, Doug. So
Are we better?
Perfect.
Are we live? Okay. Hey, thanks for the introduction. And, just a quick thanks to Mathilde, Seb, Sunil, and all of the team for this collective effort, getting us all together in what's been quite a strange year. So I wanted to do a talk on just how to build a great product resume. But I thought I'd start with a few questions to try and frame what we're talking about. So could I ask you to think back to a time when you've maybe were last on the job market, or when you've applied for a role and didn't hear back and wondered why, or if there was even a dream job application that you sent and you just got no feedback at all, or you felt that your resume was just disappearing into the ether. And do you wonder how people ever get jobs at these dream jobs that we see out there, like Google and Facebook? Or do you wonder why, what recruiters are doing? What are people like me doing? Why aren't we getting back in touch? So to frame that, I guess, I thought it might help if I just gave you an example of a day. What do recruiters actually do? What do we look for? And if I look at a day in my life last week, I got a briefing on a role on a Wednesday night, and we have a talent management system, so I set up a search on that, and I set an advert out and did some reach outs to our channels. And by the time I got in the morning, I had 300 applications in my inbox, 300 resumes waiting, and we had another 240 from the system search. Now I had to start presenting candidates by the close of play by the end of that day, and I had some staff reviews to do and some other stuff. So effectively I had 4 hours to get through 540 resumes and decide who we were going to pitch and who we were going to put forward to the client and who we weren't. And this is obviously quite an aggressive time deadline, which probably brings the question, why? Why is there this insane time pressure? Why are people like me, and why are HR managers and internal recruiters under this insane time pressure? And the reality is because I'm in competition. If I don't get through to the people that I need to get through to really quickly, we go bust. I don't get to place anybody. And it's the same with the internal team as well. If they don't plow through the applications and keep their internal stakeholders happy, then they lose their jobs, bluntly speaking. So there's a lot of time pressure from people who are looking at your resume, and the unfortunate output of that is that yes/no decisions get made really, really quickly. Probably 15 to 30 seconds is when somebody looks at your resume and they decide whether they delete it or whether you're somebody they're going to call and progress with. And if you're one of 500 people, it's a tough gig. It's tough for you to get noticed. An analogy I thought I might like to use is the recruiters here kind of in the dark a little bit, and we're looking for something to sparkle. We're looking for something to catch our attention. We're looking for diamonds in the coal mines here. So I was hoping to show you how to do that, how to be a diamond, how to sparkle, and how to catch people's attention. So I'm going to do a share screen now. If you bear with me, I'm a bit of a tech Luddite, but I want to get this presentation loaded. Okay. So I'm hoping everybody can see this. And this is what I want to talk about, is how to build a great product management resume. And I'm going to stick specifically to product management because that's what intelligent people do. Although maybe some of the concepts are applicable to other resumes. And I see about an average of 1,000 resumes a week. So this is, and my team obviously see a lot more. So I've got a pretty good idea of what grabs my attention anyway. So if we come on to the next slide, who am I and what kind of qualifies me? I'm lucky enough to be a product recruiter. I've been doing it for 11 years now, kind of since product management became a thing. I'm lucky enough to be the co-founder of Intelligent People. We are the leading product management recruitment agency, so it's a bit of a brag. But, and I'm lucky enough to have helped over 1,000 product professionals find their next career move, which you know, is about 10 a month, I guess, as a business we place, sort of there or thereabouts. And we've been lucky enough to be a main sponsor of Jam for 5 years now as well. And I guess given the backdrop for this, if I were on the market, if I were one of you, this is how I would like to build my resume. This is what I'd be doing. So I think the first thing is if we look at the structure and the layout, and it's all fairly basic, but we should always have name and contact details as the first thing. If you don't have your name and contact, people can't get hold of you. I think the most important thing though is the next bit, which is what I'd call the summary of achievements. And I'm going to come on to this at detail, but given that you have 15 to 30 seconds to engage your audience, to engage the recruiter, a summary of achievements is really important. I would make them data-driven or linked to some kind of data-driven outputs, and 2 or 3 is enough. And hopefully that will really pull your audience in and immediately get the attention of the people you want. The next is fairly standard. It's your employment history in reverse order, company name, title. And again, I would ideally have some achievements in bullet points, and I'd ideally have some supporting text there. And the fourth bit, now if somebody's got here, then they're interested in you. So you can put your academic achievements and also your hobbies and interests. And the one caveat I would have with hobbies and interests is be authentic. You know, this is a time you can personalize things, be authentic, but don't bullshit this bit because you could get caught out. So now I've talked about responsibilities and achievements, or being achievement driven here, and I thought I'd try and give you an example of this. What exactly do I mean by this? A lot of the time, people, if they list responsibilities, it's a list of duties, and if I can kind of give you a comparison of responsibilities versus achievements for the same person. So say this is me. So if I talk about responsibilities, this is what do I do in a day? I process emails. I contact new and existing clients. I register candidates, and hopefully you're getting a bit of a drift here. It becomes kind of quite dull. And if you're reading this, you're probably not really going to want to interview me. You know, I take job specifications and I manage a recruitment process. It's kind of process driven and it's about duties. There's nothing really exciting there and there's no outputs there. Whereas if we think of achievements, I could, for example, say I've helped build a functional specialism from scratch to being a market leader. I've helped place in excess of 1,000 product managers in 10 years. And bit of a brag here, but I've achieved target over 10 years. But I use this as an example really to try and illustrate why we should make things achievement-led and why we should try and make them metrically driven if we can. And I'd encourage you, I think, at this point to maybe think of your resume, particularly with the achievements part, as a product. You know, you're one of the many people out there, so try and make it easy to engage. Try and give the users what they want in a really, really short time span. Try and get people engaged with what it is that you're doing here. So the next part is a little bit more functional here. The next 2 slides is really how I would, if it were me, how I would hang my resume together, how this would all kind of tie in. So I would just keep the format really, really clean. Have name, contact at the top. And those are my contact details. So if anybody has any questions, feel free to email me at any point. But then have a profile summary with hopefully some good outputs. Have a career history, your name, what you've done, some outputs, and then a little bit of text. And the text to sort of fill out a little bit about what you've done there. Probably the same, the second page. And then you can put in some sort of qualifications and education, your school of life or whatever degree you have, and any interest that you have as well. The interest activities, I kind of think are quite important, and I would say be authentic there. If you like reading, put you like reading. You don't have to try and talk yourself up here, but I would also be aware at an interview, you may well get asked about this, and this is an idiosyncrasy, so you've got to be authentic at this particular point. And then we come on to some common do's and don'ts. I would say some really good do's would be creative and personalize your resume a little bit. Make your resume output driven. Treat your resume as a product, you know, make it easy to engage with, make it fun to read. Keep things simple. And try and understand that 3 pages is plenty. And there's a lot of talk about, should it be 2 pages? Should it be 3 pages? I honestly don't think it matters, but you should be able to get most of your resume into 3 pages, I think. And some don'ts. Don't go off piste. I don't think there's a need for long summaries. I think it turns people off. A long list of responsibilities won't get you engagement with the people that you want to speak with. Don't assume people are interested in your cultural norms. And what I mean by that is we have people that send their resumes in with things like their religion or marital status or children's names or their pets' names. And these are things that may be a cultural norm, but actually aren't going to get you anywhere in terms of getting an interview, which is really what your resume is about. So I wouldn't assume that people are interested in those. And don't bullshit, especially hobbies, because you definitely will get caught out there. Don't list responsibilities and duties. And I don't know why, but people put a picture of their head in CVs. And I mean, I personally would never do it for obvious reasons, but I don't think pictures help at all. If anybody's interviewing you because of your picture, they're interviewing you for the wrong reasons. So there's just not really a need for that. And I think I've probably whizzed through that a bit quicker than I thought I was going to, actually. So I just wanted to thank you all. I'd like to thank all of the team, and there's my contact details. If anyone's got any questions, please do reach out. We have candidate and client advice on the website and a number of product jobs as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Doug. That was very educative. Yeah, don't put the head on the resume, and don't be afraid to express a bit of personality. I think those are two key things. And I can only endorse your advice here. Great. So thank you very much, Doug, and thank you for your ongoing sponsorship of the JAM conference. That's very good of you.
Not at all.
And it's been great having you on the thing. And so, you know, Doug, I'm sure is online, so you can ping him via the chat if you want to pass him your resume or get some advice. I'm sure he'll be happy to help. And so, yeah, so next up we have